Welcome to the Veterans Day edition of KCAT News. This week I caught up with Esprit de Corps who performed the National Anthem and God Bless America. Caleb and Will Perkins also sat down with veterans from the American Legion.
Trent Ellison and Jonas Choate talked to veterans here at MHS, and Katie Narneski and Pedro Reese talked to students here at MHS about saying thank you. I'm Caleb Perkins.
And I'm Emma Seville.
And KCAT News starts right now.
Esprit de Corps will begin the episode by singing the National Anthem.
Oh, say, have you seen by the dawn's early rise what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets bright glare almost bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Will and I caught up with veterans at the American Legion and spoke to them about their stories. It doesn't matter where you're at in this nation, there are veterans to thank everywhere. Here at Mulvane, Kansas, at American Legion 136, there are plenty of men and women here who serve to protect our nation.
It doesn't matter where they came from, what branch of military they served in, or how old they were when they joined. These men and women who served our country are heroes to us.
So a couple of weeks ago when we ate here for burger night, we sat down with a couple of them to get a new perspective of what it's like to be a veteran.
The first veteran we talked to was Susan Lee. She served in the Air Force for 22 years. Even though she might have been a little bit older when she joined, this did not stop her with whatever this nation needed her to do.
I was 39 years old when I joined. I had just graduated from nursing school because it was like a third lifetime for me. And I'd always wanted to be a military nurse since I was 12 when my brother was in Vietnam. But then life got in the way and I didn't get the opportunity to go to nursing school till 35. I had to get an age waiver. The recruiter arranged that, and so I actually entered the Air Force at 39 years old. The recruiter had recruited me for a psychiatric nurse. That was the field I had worked in before, and that was what I really wanted to do, I thought. And so he recruited me for that. My first assignment was at Wichita Falls, Texas, where they actually had an inpatient unit for psychiatric care. And so I was excited, and I got there, and the commander says, "Oh, no," he's a Filipino guy, "you're our new special care nurse." And I thought, oh, good, that's the really out there ones. No, it's ICU. And I said, I don't know how to be an ICU nurse. I've not trained in that, and even in school, I did my critical care in the ER. "Oh, we'll train you." And they sent me to Mississippi for 6 weeks to a critical care nurse course. So I learned to be an ICU nurse. That was my first assignment. My second assignment was much, much more enjoyable, if more difficult at the same time. I went to Korea. I volunteered to go to Korea for a year, left my husband at home for a year, and we played hard and heavy there with war games.
We can all find lessons from veterans. Susan Lee talks about what camaraderie means.
That's what I miss most about the military, are the people that I worked with. After time and after rank increased, the people that worked for me and the civilians that I got to hire, I miss that camaraderie. We have some of that here at the post, but it's still not the same. The people that I worked with were, for the most part, were excellent workers, very dedicated to their country, joined the military free and clear. Nobody was drafted. We don't have a draft right now. And they were there to serve their country for different reasons sometimes, but still it was a very moving job to have.
Not all veterans had a choice but were drafted, but still did their part. The next veteran is Dwayne Cowse. He was drafted into the Navy as a Seabee.
The Seabees are the complete construction part of the Navy. Never was aboard ship the whole 4 years I was in the service. I have 19 months credit over at Vietnam, and we went through, since we was in the Seabees, we were stationed right on the ground forces and stuff, and manned bunkers at night, and we got overrun one night, but we had the 101st Airborne Army around us and the Air Force and stuff. But yeah, it was scary over times. I was like everybody, you know, it's something you had to do, just did it, and I kind of regretted it while I was in there, but there was nothing I can do about it. But I think back now, I'm here alive and stuff, and it was a good experience. Oh, I have more respect for people and a lot more respect for our military people, what they go through, and I see everything. And so, yeah, it grows you up. It makes you grow up fast.
Norman Pugh joined at 18 and served 30 years and 4 days. He has a biased opinion on what branch he joined, and it's a family tradition.
There's only one branch.
What branch?
Air Force.
Air Force?
That's all there is. The rest of them are just playing games. Well, I'm from a military family. I know that's one of your questions coming up. My father was in the service. My brother was in the service, and I got 4 boys. 2 of them were in the service, and we're just military family, more or less. All Air Force. Well, my father was Army Air Corps because the Air Force wasn't there then. The Army Air Corps became the Air Force. Felt good. It was good. It was a discipline builder. You know, I came from a military family, and I knew about what was going to happen when I joined the service, so I was a little bit prepared, and I knew there was rules. I made sure I found out what the rules were and tried to obey them and do my thing, and it worked out pretty good. There was a couple of times there when we had a little slip, but generally speaking, it worked out pretty good.
He explains during his 30 years of service how he's been all over the world.
Well, I went to basic down at Amarillo. I was down at Lackland, Texas, and from there I went on to tech school. And my first base was up in New York, Griffiths Air Force Base, New York. And that was cold, and I was an aircraft mechanic. I was a crew chief. And at that time I wasn't a crew chief. I was working toward being a crew chief. And just from there on, I was stationed at 11 different bases during the 30 years. I went to Thailand during the war, during the Vietnam War. I was in Thailand, and that was the fastest year of my life. We worked 12-hour shifts every day, and you come and go, you just met yourself coming and going. It seemed like all that. It seemed like I got there, went down to personnel and signed in and went through all the briefings, and the next day they called me back and said, "We got to brief you about getting ready to go home." And there was a year in between there someplace that I just flew by. My best assignment, I guess, was Fairford, England. And that was just because of the base. Being stationed in that country is fabulous. It was a good assignment. And I loved every minute of it.
Thomas Ragsdale was 19 when he joined, and he explained why he joined.
I was about to get drafted. This was still during the draft. Actually, I went in on the buddy system, and my buddy got killed in Vietnam, but it wasn't on your list of names. But
He explains how his service has helped him later in life.
well, as a matter of fact, it did help. I went to the post office and turned in an application, and they said, "We're not taking any applications now. The only people that can get an application is if you got a Purple Heart." And I said, "I have a Purple Heart." So I got hired for the post office and retired there after 35 years. And the Purple Hearts, if you get wounded while in action, and I was in a truck, driving a truck down the highway, and we hit a mine and blew the truck up. I've still got scars on my legs where they dug metal out of them.
He's still happy that he joined the Army and protected this nation.
Had a good time. I still keep in touch with a guy that I was in basic training and went to Vietnam with him, We were in the same company in Vietnam. When we came back from Vietnam, we both got assigned to Fort Bragg. So, and I still keep in touch with him. As a matter of fact, today's his birthday.
Lastly, as we were there for Burger Night, a former Mulvane graduate, Braden Dunlap, was there and talked about his experiences in the Air Force for the past couple years.
My first mission was into Kuwait and then to Jordan while we were over in Iraq. And that was only 4 months. And that was right after I got out of basic training, so that was kind of scary, just to be dropped off somewhere like that. I had to do a lot of growing up from when I was 18. Every 18-year-old's immature and wants to have fun going to college, but you can't do that. You got to be an adult, and you got to make big boy decisions, and you got to act older than you are. Oh, I loved it, man. I wouldn't fight for any other country. I would rather, stay here and protect everybody that I love.
Finally, we asked them, what would you tell a student who is interested in joining the military?
I would tell you guys to do it, man. Don't be one of those people who says, man, I almost joined. Like, if you join, you're going to get all this respect from a lot of people. I mean, I'm 20 years old, and I have people that are 40 and 50 years old thanking me for my service. And I haven't done that much, so it's really just nice to have people look up to you and shoot for your dreams. If you want to go to college, go to college. But if it's not for you, then look at the military. Give me a call. I can help you out with it and get you where you need to go.
I tell them to do a little bit of homework and decide what branch of the service you wanted and what you would like to do in the service. When I joined, I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. But when they said that they gave you a list of different jobs, and that's basically how I got to be a truck driver. But when you're a truck driver in Vietnam, if you're not driving a truck, you're doing the same thing as the infantry people are.
First of all, I would say you need to want to go. If you definitely don't want to go and you just look for a job or some way to make some pocket money because you can't find a job, wait a while and think about it. But once you go and you decide you're going to go, give it your all. You made a decision to join. There's going to be some things that you're going to wonder about, worry about, and in some cases can't figure out why the heck they're doing it. But you did raise your hand and say, I want to do this, so go ahead and do it. There's always chances every 3 or 4 years, depending on the service you belong to get out and try something else. But in my case, I'd have stayed another 30 years if they'd let me, but that's just me.
I would say, there's good opportunities there. You could have a chance to go to college, basically free of charge through the military and stuff. But if that would prevent you from going to a war zone, I don't know. But it's a good experience, and if somebody's interested, and especially for schooling stuff, they have excellent schools.
I would ask first if they're interested in college, if they have a drive to go to college to study something in particular, and if so, to do that. But if not, certainly join the military, because a lot of times, without there being a draft, you can choose what area you want to go into, be it mechanics, electronics, medical. Now, sometimes you don't get what you want, but if you don't, once you go to basic training and get the other training and serve for a year or so, you can cross-train to something else if you don't like what you're doing. So you can, if you don't like what they have you doing, you can always put in for a request to cross-transfer. And I've seen many people that didn't start out in the medical field and ended up working in the medical field because that was their drive, that was their dream. It's a good first experience away from home because you're at a safe place on a military base. They have dorms for young enlisted folks, chow hall that you can eat 3 meals a day without having to fix anything. If you don't know how to cook, that's okay. You can have microwaves and things in the dorms if you want. It's like being on your own, but you've got a safety net. And it's serving your country, and that's a higher purpose.
Thank you to all who served our nation, and thank you to those who are willing to talk to us.
And thank you to Norman Peru and his wife for paying for our burgers.
At MHS, we have a few veterans in our building, Mr. Myers, Mr. Hansen, and Mr. Evers. Trent and Jonas caught up with them to talk about their time in the service.
This week, I'll be interviewing 3 of the teachers here at the MHS and getting the insights of their experience in the military.
My name is Brad Hansen. I was in the Kansas Air National Guard, the branch of the Air Force, for 35 years. I basically just needed a job. I was a hydraulic mechanic on F-4 D model aircraft. I was very proud to serve. I think it's a great opportunity for all Americans. My time in Iraq, when you're in a war zone, can be very scary. I was in several excursions as long as I was in Operation Enduring Freedom. Too many conflicts, you leave one of them out. I met some great people from all over the country, all over the United States. One of the things that are ironic today is we talk about Black Lives Matter and all of that stuff, but when you're in the military, you wear the same uniform, and everyone matters, and you don't get hung up on what your skin color is or your origin, which is fantastic. One of the things that I've learned as I got a little older now and retired is some of the biggest benefits of people when they get old is you have to have supplemental insurances that cost a lot of money, and the military will pay for that. So if you serve your country and retire with the military, you won't have the expenses a lot of your buddies have worrying about health care insurance, which is a major factor right now. Well, the military is a great way to get college paid for. All of the branches of the service encourage people to get to continue college education. And college is very expensive, but it doesn't have to be necessarily if you use the military to pay for it.
I wanted to serve my country. I was looking for something other than college at the time. And so I went through the process and chose the Navy, and it was a good 4-year experience and plenty of good experiences to look back on. Well, you go to basic training, and then you go to A school, and you get your technical training. And then I got on a helicopter, and they sent me out to a small ship in the middle of the ocean. I spent 2 nights on that smaller ship, and then they put me on another helicopter and sent me onto an aircraft carrier where I was stationed. And so being 18 years old and landing on that aircraft carrier and hearing that loud metal door slam behind you once you walk into the carrier with 5,000 people in the middle of the ocean, it was an experience. So that was my first mission. We went to Australia. We were there for 2 weeks, and so there were some good experiences as far as travel. Being in the middle of the Indian Ocean on a ship with 5,000 people, you can imagine there was 2 galleys kitchens, and so the food wasn't great. They called hamburgers sliders, but you adapted. You played a lot of cards, lifted a lot of weights, and did things to fill your time. I enjoyed it, being 18, 19, 20 years old, being around a bunch of guys who played football, played basketball. There was always something to do, always somebody going somewhere. We worked hard. We played hard. When you're on a ship in the middle of the Indian Ocean and somebody gets blown over the side, it's a little scary. Waves come over the deck at times, and if somebody's working on the deck, we've had man overboard situations. So we've had a jet roll off the side of an aircraft carrier. Those aren't scary, but those make you kind of think about the realities of the risk being out there. I think the 4-year experience, if not the 8-week experience of boot camp, really defines young people. It gives them boundaries, structures that potentially they didn't have before they went in the military, and then they build on that for the next 3 years of what that structure, that discipline that you learn in basic training, that you apply for 3 years, and then throughout the rest of your life, you maintain those disciplines. You take those with you every day to work, and everything you do, those are embedded in what you do for the rest of your life. And I think that's a good thing. Again, the structure, being organized. So that's what I'd say I took from it. If you're interested, talk to the recruiters, evaluate all of the different options, depending on what you want to do career-wise, whether that's electronics, There's a lot of options. So one specific branch may be a better option for you, depending on what your future goals would be. So talk to a recruiter, talk to people that have been in the military, talk about those experiences, and kind of evaluate all your options before you go in.
Yeah, actually, so shoot, my would have been like, I guess, my dad's great grandpa actually fought in the Civil War for the North out of Pennsylvania. Then my dad was in the Army in the late 60s. And then my grandpa on my mom's side fought in World War II in Africa. But one of my uncles was in the Marines, and I had talked with him about it just as I was growing up. It was something I always kind of thought that I probably would want to do at some point. And then I was going to college at the time, and I just, I don't know, kind of the opportunity presented itself a little bit, and I felt like it was a good move for me to do at the time. So I got a phone call from like a Navy recruiter, and I went in and talked to him. And the more I kind of described like things that I was interested in and kind of how I felt about, just as we had our conversation, he thought, you know what, I think you might fit better in the Marine Corps. So he walked across the hall and he went and got a Marine recruiter, and we talked a little bit. And the Marine recruiter was like, hey, are you in like some sort of legal trouble or anything? You seem like everything's kind of squared away. And I was like, no, I just want to join the Marines. So he actually made me leave the office for a while. He told me he'd come back in a couple hours after I thought through it a little bit more. And so I went in, we talked, and it was good. I thought it was a pretty good process. One of the things that I think really helped is, like, I went into the recruiting station knowing that I wanted to join. I wasn't trying to look for, like, I don't know, some big signing bonus or package or anything. So anything the recruiter told me that seemed kind of too good to be true, I didn't worry too much about it because I wasn't joining, kind of for those things. And so I enlisted in the Marine Reserves, and so I missed a little bit of college. And then after I got done with training, then I was able to complete my college and then also serve at the same time. My job in the Marine Corps was an electrician. So that little bit of experience allowed me to get a job while I was in college working for an electric company, and then taking advantage of that opportunity let me get tons of experience as far as doing electrical work, which actually went back and helped me more in the military because then I had more experience than a lot of the people that I served with, and then that let me kind of excel there. So I learned a trade kind of as part of being in the military, but people that aren't even in a trade, I mean, I feel like you can take everything that you do in the military, especially from like a leadership and an interaction with other people standpoint. You should be able to apply that to any avenue of life that you go into. So I think there's a big benefit from being in the military. You just got to make sure you take advantage of those experiences when they come your way. I did not serve in any combat role. So I went to training, spent 6 years training for combat, was not in combat. Kind of the furthest training that I did, or furthest away from Kansas at least, I went to Thailand it was a joint forces operation with us and like the Thai Marines. And the war game scenario was that we were working with Thai Marines to fight a force in Southeast Asia. And then because the made up scenario was like some sort of situation where we were going to have to go into Asia and basically kind of battle China. And that was this operation called Operation Cobra Gold. But again, it was just a training exercise. I know in basic training there was a time period where things were really heating up around the world. And all of a sudden it was like, wow, I'm, 6 weeks into my 13-week training, and now things are getting really bad all of a sudden. So it was just, good things to really step back and think about and make sure that you're taking your training seriously, and that you were in it for the right reasons. And kind of the same thing happened around 2001, obviously, like September 11th, 2001. I think it just, was a time when people that were in the service would probably have to step back and make sure that, they're taking it seriously, and that they were, at the top of their game, so to speak, as far as training in case something did come up where they were, called into service. I think high school students need to, one, really think about why they want to join. And if it's purely because they're looking for, I don't know, money for college, then I encourage them to look at other avenues. I was in the Marines with a few people that had joined purely to get money for college. And then when things got a little hairy, like around September 11th, then all of a sudden they kind of realized pretty quickly they weren't in it for the right reason. So then they were really questioning why they were there to begin with. So I would really encourage them to think about why they want to join. And it's tough. It's not like a 2-sentence answer. I understand that. As a 17, 18-year-old, you do have a limited life experience. So you might not have this perfect answer on why you want to join. But again, just, really kind of self-reflection. And then once they decide to join, I tell the kids, you got to be beyond what you would consider tip-top physical shape. Because I would say there's not a way to prepare you mentally for what you're going to go through in basic training, and that's a good thing. You need to go in there ready to be able to, kind of be remolded in the person they need you to be. But if you're dealing with the mental aspect and the physical aspect, then it's a bigger issue. So the better shape you can be in, the better for you, and then you'll also, excel, at basic training, which is going to help you excel in leadership positions as you go through your career.
Kate and Peyton talked to students here at Mulvane High School to say thank you to all of our veterans.
Hi, I'm Chloe Watson, and I'm a freshman, and I would like to thank our fellow veterans for their service to our country, and thank all the men and women currently serving to protect our country.
Good. Hi, I'm Daniel Myers, and I would like to thank all veterans and all those who protect our nation.
Hi, I'm a junior, Michaela Arbogast. I'd like to thank all our veterans and those who served in our country.
Hi, I'm Jacob Seville, and I would like to thank all veterans and all those who protect our nation.
Hi, I'm sophomore Hannah Redelberger, and I would like to say thank you to all the veterans who help protect our country and all the people in it.
Hi, I'm Lori Terhune, and I would like to thank the employees of our school district who have served in the armed forces to protect my freedom and those of all of Americans. Thank you.
My first name is Jordan Coe, and I would like to thank all the veterans and those who protect our nation.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Street here at Mulvane High School. I teach art, and I'd like to say thank you to all the veterans who protect our nation.
Hi, I'm a senior from Mulvane High School. My name is Austin Greer, and I would like to thank every and any veteran that's out there. Thank you for protecting us and for just doing your job in general, doing what you have to do, and yeah.
Hi, I'm a freshman. My name is Sammy Neff, and I would like to thank all of our veterans for their service to our country and thank all of the men and women currently serving to protect our country.
Mark Navarro, and I'm a freshman, and I would like to thank all of our veterans who are up day and night protecting our nation.
Hi, I'm freshman Hayden Bohr, and I would like to thank all veterans and those who protect our nation.
I am freshman Skylar Crow, and I would like to thank my great-grandfather for serving in time.
Hi, I'm a junior. My name is Kobe Mangoni, and I would like to thank all the veterans and those who have protected our nation.
Hi, I'm a senior, Shira Furman. I'd like to say thank you to all the veterans.
Hi, I'm Miss Jelinek, and I would like to send a shout out to my dad, who is retired Air Force, as well as lots of uncles, cousins, and grandfathers that have served in World War II and some of our previous wars. Thank you so much for what you do for our family and for our country.
Hi, I'm freshman Tatum Rayleigh, and I would like to thank all veterans and those who protect our nation.
Hi, I'm a junior. My name is Zach Blanton, and I would like to thank all of our veterans for their service to our country and thank all the men and women currently serving to protect our country.
I'm a junior, Trinity Aguirre, and I want to say thank you to all the veterans for protecting our country.
To close out the episode, Esprit de Corps will perform God Bless America.
God bless America. Land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with gold.
Nicely done, Esprit. Here are the veterans that are in our district. Jesse Myers, the Marine Corps, Doug Evers, the Navy, and Brad Hansen, the Air Force.
As well as Ed Huss, who served in the Navy, Gerald Stegner, who served in the National Guard, and Ken Phillips, who served in the Army.
Today we recognize those who have served and those currently serving in uniform for the United States, and also their families. Both have sacrificed a lot for this nation.
We remember those who have lost their lives in service, and those with physical and mental wounds because of their service.
The families and friends who have mourned a loved one, and the soldier who is missing in action. Thank you.
And as always,
thanks for watching KCAT.